as we were talking now, I was just imagining that it's so easy for you to be able to talk about looking out for people like that because you grew into the ranks.
Yeah.
From being part of the ushering department, you now became an in-house minister,
yeah.
and now a reverend. You know, our focus on the shepherd staff in the last couple of weeks has been on the call of God. Do you think that the reason why some of these ministers could make such audacious statements that they don't need anybody to encourage them, probably they were ordained or they got into ministry without following through the ranks? Could that be the reason why some of them didn't pass? They were not properly called, if I may use that word. Could that be the reason?
You know, it can be yes and no, because I remembered watching a minister somewhere, and then some young men were with me that look up to me while we were watching, and then I said to one of the young men, because the minister displayed something that looks like arrogance.
Okay.
So I now turned to the young man. I said, "What did you observe?" He now said that the man behaved somehow in an arrogant way, because he spoke to the ushers. And I told him that I will never speak to an usher like this, because I was an usher.
Okay.
Now, when you see a minister that has served, there's a way he relates to workers. As a practice, if I have opportunity to preach anywhere, I minister, I pray for the ushers, I lay hands on all of them before I leave. Okay. It is because I know how distracting it is to usher in a meeting. It's not every usher that has that inner capacity to still receive while ushering. Okay. So a minister that serves in any department, media, technical, ushering, choir, there's a way he will approach ministry from somebody that didn't serve. For example, you can see a minister on the pulpit while ministering, and you say to an usher, "Get out from that place." You just know that, because that get out can, if the meeting is running for 6 days, and that's the first day, you may have closed the meeting to that individual you spoke to for the rest 5 days. Okay. So if you have ushered before and you have served before in a team, like maybe using words like, "These are media team, they need deliverance." Since we began this ministry for the past 6 years, they've never given the best. You know, and some of these guys have sleepless nights. Some of them leave their wives, their children at home to make sure that they give their best. But a minister who has served, that knows the pain in service and the pain of service, he will say the same thing, but he will be polite.
Okay.
You will get the same message is passing, but you will hear differently. And sometimes, like our Father and the Lord will do, he may crack a joke with it, but the real message is passing. Yes. You would have received it. I remember when I joined Ushering Unit here in Reverend Christian Network, is the wife of one of our appointment. If not, I would have left the Ushering Unit. Because while you are standing, you maybe, like I'm dressed now, I can just imagine that if my shoe is black, my belt is black, if you are standing to usher, because of the pressure, your heart will tell you that your shoe is green. Meanwhile, you're the one that put on the black pair of shoes from home. So sometimes I'll stand on the aisle and my body will be shaking. Wow. And she will come and whisper to my ear, "You are the best usher, you have to be here." And she was a great encouragement to me. But maybe another person will rebuke you that each time you are ushering, you are not standing well, and that would have been another escape route for me. I'll just go silently. But she kept at it. I saw her during the IC and I told her, "Thank you." I introduced her to one of my friends. This is my mentor that brought me into ushering unit. So ministers that serve, when they carry out ministry functions, there's a different approach to it. So I wouldn't say he didn't serve, but maybe he served in different capacities, because I think if he had followed the path of sanctuary units, ushers, choir, and some of these units, he may have understood that sometimes you need to really take it gradually with people. And then service has a long way to go, and it will change who you are. Shyness, inability to face crowd, and many things that has to do with peer pressure can just live your life if you are in service. So I recommend that service is very good for everyone who knows that there's a call of God in his or her life.
Oh yes, and just to borrow a leaf from what Reverend Tony usually says when he answers questions here on the program, one of the fastest ways to know your call is to get involved with a service unit in church, get committed, and you will grow in the ranks to eventually knowing where and what God will have you do in church.